Hello YouTube, it's Carrie here, and doing another live stream this morning. Sorry, I'm looking a little rough. Did not sleep much last night. I wanted to talk about a couple of things that I was quite surprised about considering post-op circumferential body lift with abdominal repair, and I'm pretty sure that most of this is related to the abdominal repair. Dr. Katzen is phenomenal and does a very good job in concerning how tight he stitches everything back up, because of course when we're morbidly obese we have so much distension of our muscles. And sorry guys, that was just the doorbell. My parents have an interesting doorbell. And I've found some major changes, and I've had to completely modify how I eat. What I'm trying to eat right now, right here, this is my seaweed and tofu miso soup, which was basically a protein staple for me before. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to eat that on a regular basis anymore because the volume is so big. I find volume-wise, I can eat more in the morning than in the evening, sort of, I guess, as things sort of pile up in the system, in your internal cavity during the day, it gets harder to put more things in, so I've had to reverse the type of meals that I'm having and have more of like the heavy proteins in the morning and something very light for dinner. And the other major thing is dumping syndrome. Dumping syndrome has changed for me. Now, getting over full to the point where you're so uncomfortable you kind of have to throw up. I'm going live. Sorry, Mom. is so, and also since I'm so soon from out of surgery, throwing up was something that was extraordinarily painful. And is not something I want to repeat again. But I'm also finding that the things that set off my dumping syndrome are very different now. I still have the same ones as before, like the sugar and that. I'm not even going to test that out. Sugar is one thing I would not even test out because I get such horrendous dumping syndrome from sugar. So that is something that I try to stay away from. Although I've had cherries, I think I had up to like 8 cherries. Natural sugars I have an easier time with, but I'm not about to have like a very sweet pear or a piece of pineapple, anything like that, to test out where I'm at regarding the trigger amount for my sugar dumping syndrome. I have experienced carb dumping syndrome. I had eaten some carbs late at night one night, and the following morning I had that delayed version 2 of dumping syndrome, and that was quite horrible. Very bad stomach cramps, and with the abdominal repair, the stomach cramps are just like on steroids. It's crazy. But the brand new trigger for dumping syndrome seems to be rich foods. Last night I tried to eat some spinach with some cream in it, and I put a little bit too much cream and I had to reduce it on the stove. I did not even finish half of the small amount that I had taken, and I started getting sick. And it seemed pretty close to classic dumping syndrome, where you get very nauseous, you feel like you're going to throw up, you get sort of like hot flashes. I had to get my mom to get me like a cold cloth to put on my head and stuff. To sort of cool me down. I was very nauseous. I felt like I was about to throw up. My stomach muscles were like, I could feel the abdominal muscles sort of like that cramping that's like on the verge of vomiting. And I was like trying to concentrate very much and focus on not vomiting because I knew that would be so painful. I also had what is pretty classic for me in dumping syndrome, where my stomach seems to create like a ton of gas and I get very painful burping. And so I was basically sitting there for, 40 minutes like this, patting my chest and trying to help me burp so that I wouldn't have anything worse, and trying not to barf, and putting a cold pack on my stomach muscles to try and calm down that muscle tension from your stomach wanting to convulse. And so that was, it's definitely been something that was an unanticipated change. I have written in, there's a very big plastic surgery for post-op weight loss people on Facebook that I'm in, and there's about, I don't know, close to 8,000 members. And this group has been a godsend. They've been such great support, and there's always somebody who's sort of going through the same thing. But I've noticed that whenever I'm talking about changes in eating, volumetric changes, yes, but I don't think I've had anybody who experienced the same thing in regards to dumping syndrome as me. I wrote it into the group about it yesterday, and usually you get back like a ton of replies right away, especially when it's something that a lot of people are experiencing. And so for me, this has been a game changer, because as many of you know, I get all of my nutrition from my food. I'm very big on eating. I'm very big on eating natural foods and getting nutrition from my food. And I might have to supplement now, just because the volume of food is just something that I can't handle anymore at this point. But yeah, just wanted to hop on here and discuss that. And that's about it. I'll leave it at that for now. Anyhow, hope everybody's doing well. Bye.